Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We are here. We're going to start very soon. Tonight's session is about teenagers, yesterday and today. And so, before we start, we're going to take some time for everyone to come online with us. I need to share out this post to more friends so that we can have a little audience with us tonight. Okay. So, if you can hear us, I'm Sebastian, this is Sharlyn, and we're going to start a little session about teenagers yesterday and today in about 1 to 2 minutes. All right. All right. Charlene, are you ready? Shall we start?
Yes, we can. Let's go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is 9 o'clock in Malaysia at the moment, and we are starting a little live stream about teenagers. We're
Mm-hmm.
not too sure who's going to watch us tonight. Is it the teenagers or the parents? But we are going to talk about how different, or is it any different, in
Mm.
the context of teenagehood. Okay, so I would like to introduce to you our speaker tonight. By the way, I'm Sebastian from Champs, and here we would like to present to you Sharlyn J from Happy Words Co. Sharlyn, say hello.
Hello, everybody. So good to
And
be
so
here.
Sharlyn here is a friend of mine. We studied law in the UK together,
That's right.
and she is a graduate of law and criminology, and her heart is with the youth of today. She's got a history of creating many resources and organizing many events for the youth. Here, I want to highlight that she has developed many workshops and also published more than 100,000 educational magazines for high
Yeah.
school and university students at the national level. Yeah. So after working in a few places, she came back to, she didn't come back. She left her professional corporate life and founded
Yeah.
Happy Work Co. Yeah.
That's
This is the
right.
company that you see today. If you search her up, Happy Words Co., you will find a youth development organization to continue the pursuit of bridging the gaps of our current Malaysian education system to
Mm.
realize a future filled with independent, wholesome youths. So
Wow.
here the
Come
keyword,
on.
Charlene, is social emotional learning, correct?
Correct. That's right.
Yeah, social emotional learning. And so, because of the work Sharlyn does, we have invited her over to Borneo, to Sarawak, this coming November the 6th for a workshop. This workshop is called Love You Fam. Yeah, Love You Fam. And so today's session is a sneak peek into what we are going to talk about during the workshop, because
Yeah.
such workshops are rarely found. Yeah.
Yeah.
We pay money, and we spend a lot of time going for workshops that motivate us to do better in our exams, um, to to run faster, to jump
Yeah.
higher, swim faster. But we seldom spend time to learn how to love better and how to be
Yeah.
a better friend or a better son or daughter. Yeah. So here it is, and we're going to explain to you what's going on in the workshop through the topic today: teenagers, yesterday, and today. All right,
Mm-hmm.
enough with me. We're going to start with Sharlyn. Sharlyn, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Wow, what are we ready for?
I'm
Whoa.
sorry. So Sharlyn didn't receive a structure of how the session's going to be like tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So before we went live, I'm like, Sharlyn, do you have a flow of how you want to say things? And she said, nope. But so she's got all her notes. She's got all her notes, and she's expecting me to uh, shine the light on the different themes, and then we can talk about it. But we're not
Correct.
sure we're gonna do that. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna start is with this or that game. Okay,
Okay.
Charlie?
Okay. Let's go.
Okay. So, Starbucks or Kopitiam?
Kopitiam.
Huh. Okay.
Mm.
Uh,
Down to
Kopi-
earth, right?
down to earth, very good. Pretentiously, I am a Starbucks person. Uh,
No, it's
yeah.
okay. Starbucks is nice, but first I don't drink coffee, so
Okay. Well. Let's say expensive drinks or roadside Kopitiam, like close to the earth drinks.
close to the earth drink. I still would choose kopitiam actually.
You still choose Kopitiam.
Yeah.
I need to do some reflections, because if you ask me that, I would have chosen Starbucks or expensive drinks.
It's
And I
okay. It's just a preference, what?
it is not a healthy preference, I would think, because my parents and my brother would think that I spend too much money on unnecessary experiences. But
Mm-hmm.
my idea of life is it is very short, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very non-delayed gratification person. Are you a delayed gratification person?
It depends on like what aspect lah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next question,
Yeah.
this or that.
Yep. Okay.
You get a bar of chocolate.
Okay.
Eat it today or keep it.
Oh, you did today.
Same here. I'll eat it today as well.
That's where I don't have delayed gratification lah, huh?
And I wonder if it's a generational thing
Mm-hmm.
or it's just a chocolate thing. Okay, maybe not a good example. Okay, next one is you have an exam tomorrow.
Mm.
Okay, you study, and not university days like tomorrow. Okay, you've got an exam you need to sit for 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
You are
dear.
not really ready.
Okay.
You have two choices. You can cram all night and sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
or you're just gonna study till midnight and then wake up early tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock to study.
Mm. I will cram until 3 o'clock and then go to sleep. Then go straight to exam. But hey, if you are actually studying and you have exams coming up, let's study ahead of time, okay? Cramming information is very, very difficult. Don't do that to yourself. But generally, I'm more active at night rather than in the mornings. So they would call me a night person, if that's a thing.
Okay. Thank you, Sharlyn.
Interesting. Great
And
questions.
last question before we let you start.
Yep.
You're going for a holiday, okay? Going for
Okay.
the same price. Would you go for a staycation in a five-star hotel in KL,
Mm-hmm.
or would you go for a five-star hotel in the jungle?
Wow. Like right now, in
Right now,
this, like right now, I think I'll probably go to the jungle because at the end of this month, I'm flying to Sarawak. I'll be staying in hotels. So I will be in Sarawak. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited. It's my first time, you know.
ladies
Oh,
and gentlemen,
so
that was
excited.
not planned, but
Yeah.
Sharlyn and I slipped in a little promotion on the 6th of November. There is a workshop. There's a
That's
workshop
right.
at TV, which is called Love You Fam. Okay, Love You
That's right.
Fam, a workshop about teenage relationships. Okay,
Yeah, that's right.
so
So
Sharlyn,
good.
today the
Yes.
topic we have, yeah, is
Mm,
teenagehood yesterday and today, or yesterday versus today. Okay,
mm,
um, let's start with a general comparison. Do you
mm-hmm,
see that there is a difference in the teenagehoods of the two times,
mm.
or do you think ultimately the challenges and the privileges are the same?
Wow. So if we were to draw like from our time, right, and the current teenagers, I think there's a lot of things that have changed. The world has changed in the last 10, 15 years. A lot of things are different now. Like we never grew like when we were growing up. Well, this makes us sound very, very ancient, but it wasn't so dominated by like internet and like the whole digital era. It was very, very subtle when we were growing up, right? So I think it was probably towards the later part of our high school years where we started to be a little bit more active socially online and stuff like that, right? But nowadays, they are introduced to like TikTok lah, to Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts at such a young age. So the younger generation, really, our teenagers, they grew up with Instagram, for example. So I always think about this, right? How many kids have grown up knowing this more than their relatives, where they just get, like video at every given point in time. Oh, my child just ate your first apple, and then they take a video, right? So I think there's a lot of differences because I guess this makes our younger generation more aware that people are looking at them, and there's this sense of like, oh wow, there's a comparison that comes into play because I see my flaws behind closed doors, right? But I'm seeing what you put out on the internet. And it's
Yeah.
just such an unfair comparison. So I think it really does something to our self-esteem.
Mm.
And imagine going through that as you are discovering yourself as a teenager. I think that's really, really difficult. It puts expectations on teenagers like never before. I don't think we would ever understand that.
There was an analogy, or I think it was an article I read. I'm not sure from where. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, from our primitive days, yeah.
Mm,
We naturally something. I'm just picking the data from my head. That a person naturally or should or would listen to the six people around them.
mm,
So they are influenced by the ideas of six people around them. So
mm,
people around them, this small group of people, what
yeah.
they think about the person, what they approve or what they disapprove of the person would
Mm,
all the person. Yeah. So when you
Yeah.
wake up, you want to seek approval of these few people around you. But today, it's not
Oh,
six. It's 6,000, or it's
yeah.
6 followers on Instagram to buy likes from. Um,
Correct. To gain validation from.
yeah, validation from. I'm guilty as well. As I wake
Mm,
up, the first thing I do is check my social media, which I
mm,
shouldn't. We use the excuse of work,
mm.
that we're answering to work, but not really.
Not
We can
really. If
we
we're
can do
honest, it's not really work.
no.
Yeah. And you know the funny thing is, right, there's like it's social media. And what we don't realize is that we are slowly allowing social media to take over social relationships. Do you get what I'm saying? We feel like, yeah, I'm connected because we are using social media. But how much of social relationship are, is it costing us? That's something that a lot of people don't really think about.
And so, speaking of this, Charlene,
Yeah.
uh, do you think in your workshop, social
Mm,
media is going to be an enemy that you would warn teenagers against,
mm-hmm.
or something that they can do without? Or do you think social media should be our tool? Or is there a strategy that you're going to introduce to the teenagers?
Right. So again, this goes back to the core of what this workshop is about, right? So we titled it Love You Fam because we are talking about relationships, right? And it involves your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your family, your relationship with friends at school, with your teachers, right? It also involves, let's be real, in high school, you have like crushes and you're just trying to navigate all of these different things, right? So if you are asking me about whether social media is an enemy or a tool, I would say that this is really a choice that you get to make because social media is not bad. It can be
We got
good,
very
but how
social media.
exactly we are connecting because of social media, right? But if social media is then taking away the meaning in your personal relationships, if it's taking away time from your loved ones, then that's not very healthy, is it?
Mm,
So I guess this again ties back to your choice of how you use it and what your values are.
mm.
Because if you value connection, then definitely like there is a connection point, but we have to be very aware that too much of anything is not a good thing,
Mm.
right? So I can connect with you over social media and that's a fantastic thing, but if I'm connecting with you like 24 hours a day, I'm just stuck here in my room and I'm not talking to my parents,
Mm.
then that is no balance. Oh? Yeah, so it's really important for us to know what is meaningful to us and to have that flexibility.
And Charlene,
Yes.
speaking of this internet,
Mm,
or exposure to social media and all that,
yeah.
do you remember when you first had your discovery on internet?
Oh my gosh, I do. So it was a
How
really
old were
funny.
you?
I think I was probably 10 or 11.
10 or
And
11?
I was playing Neopets.
Oh my goodness, I had that account.
That was a long time ago. So,
We were
anyways,
probably great friends.
yeah, so I remember that was the first time creating an email address and
Yep.
but I didn't have access to like a computer or the laptop unless I went to my cousin's house. So I wasn't like fully into the internet or anything like that. Yeah. But you see that's the thing, right? Like I remember more of me playing like rollerblades, playing like the scooter and roller shoes with my cousins at that age. I do not remember social media being like a big part of my developmental years.
I remember going on the internet myself at
Wow.
primary 3,
Primary 3.
9 years old.
Wow.
I figured out www dot myself
Wow.
ish.
How?
There was a
You
computer
smart, are
at
you?
home. There was a computer at home. So yeah,
Wow.
I had my time. And that time with such technology,
Mm,
the the darnest things I saw on the internet
gosh.
uh is scary because today it is
Yeah.
even more accessible.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
Even more accessible. I was very lucky. My parents uh, were very open and
Mm,
educated about the birds and the bees, and so I didn't have to learn that online. Yeah,
thank God. Yeah.
but then yeah, today we see a lot of children with TikTok accounts.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about teenagers. Yeah, uh, and there is no standard what's right and wrong. When
Yeah.
give them access, when do we not? Right.
Mm, mm,
So this brings us to the question of choice. Right.
mm.
Certain choices were not made by us.
Okay. Yeah.
Certain choices of when we were exposed to certain things were not made by us. If your
Mm-hmm.
parents gave you a phone at primary 2, you got it then.
Mm. Yeah.
When does the choice come back into your own hands?
Yeah. Wow. That's a really, really good question. And I think it comes back when we have the awareness that we have a choice, right? I think a lot of times the reason why we stay stuck is because it doesn't click in our head like, hey, actually, I have a choice here of how to approach certain things. Yes, I can give you a phone, but whether you choose to be on it 24 hours a day or 20 minutes a day, that's your choice, right? So I think choice is something that is very powerful when we are aware that we have a choice. That's why talking about this to teenagers is so important.
Mm,
We are helping them understand that, hey, there's a healthier choice here that you can make. Yeah,
mm,
so again, one of the things that we spoke about on our Instagram live last week, it's not about right and wrong. Like, I think it's quite clear to see what's right and what's wrong, but rather understand you have a choice between what is good for you, what brings life, and what brings you away from that, you know? So if I'm spending 24 hours a day on the phone, clearly that's not giving me life, right? That's taking everything out of me.
mm,
So then what's your choice then? Are you gonna continue doing that? Or do you then decide, hey, maybe 2 hours a day is enough, lah, huh? And let's
mm,
put that aside. Yeah. So I think it's really about your awareness, lor. Really knowing that, hey, no matter what the situation is, I have a choice. So for an example, right? Like for me, I remember when I was in high school, it was
mm,
really, really tough for me. Like I struggled a lot personally during my teenage years. And that's the reason why I'm very passionate about social and emotional skills. Because no one taught me these things. I had these big and difficult emotions. I didn't know what to do with them.
mm,
And I remember isolating myself. I remember these thoughts help like just training me back and not talking to people. And it was really, really difficult. On the
mm,
surface, right, people think I'm very confident. Back from my younger days, everybody thinks, oh, Sharlyn, very confident. But I struggled so much. And because people had the expectation of me to be confident, I then felt I couldn't tell them that I was struggling, right? So at that point in time, I wish someone had told me, Sharlyn, you have a choice to reach out to people or to just stay stuck in your room crying. I wish someone had told me, Sharlyn, there are those 2 or 3 trusted friends and teachers that you can reach out to. There is a choice. And if someone had shared that with me then, right, I think my life would have turned out very, very differently.
mm,
You know, I don't regret anything that had happened in my life, because yeah, as cliche as it is, that's what led me to where I am right now, right? But I do think that younger Sharlyn, my teenage Sharlyn, would be so grateful to have someone to come and tell me, hey, I know you have these difficult emotions. It's okay. It's okay for you to feel these things, but you have a choice. You have a choice to reach out and to talk to someone that can help you out with it. And yeah, and I think why I'm so passionate about happy voice is because like I want to be that person that I never had. Yeah, and it's really, really powerful because sometimes teenagers feel like they can't open up to their family members. They can't open up to their parents, even though they know parents love them so, so much, right? But as a teenager trying to figure out and discover yourself, I think there's that difficulty. And that's why like creating safe spaces is so precious to me. Having that safe space to allow them to know, hey, actually, why are you struggling so much? Like why do why do you feel like you can't talk to your siblings? Why do you feel like you can't be real with your parents? And trying to understand what's the value behind that. Yeah, so I think for me it's a real life thing, and it affects every single step of the way. So yeah,
Sharlyn,
wow, that was very, very vulnerable.
Sharlyn, I want to, but there's a pointer here, yeah.
Yeah,
Sharlyn, would you be a lot more vulnerable during the workshop? Because um,
of course.
it will be, uh, I personally was very curious. Well,
Yeah.
we speak on the phone a lot,
Mm,
and yeah. So, what were the valleys that Sharlyn had to go through to get to where she was today?
mm,
Um, these heartfelt stories would be helpful to certain students
yeah.
who went through the same thing. However,
Mm,
because we are on Facebook Live and it's going to be
yeah.
recorded forever, we have
It's
put a
on the internet.
boundary there that it will not be shared here. Yeah.
Correct.
So, Sharlyn, my next question is, it's a what this or that. Okay,
Okay.
you are now in a time machine. You have to go back in time. All the buttons are broken. There are only two buttons left. Age 13 or age 16. Where would you go?
Wow. No wonder I saw you jotting down the question just now.
Yeah. So repeating
Wow.
for the audience, you're now in a time machine. Uh, you're stuck in there. You need to press a button. There are only two buttons left to press.
Hmm. Hmm.
Age 13 or 16. Where would you go and why?
I would go to 13. Yeah. Because I think the transition from primary school to high school was quite rough for me. And because like I had to transition into a completely new school. And yeah, I think transitions at that age, right? It's difficult. Adapting and trying to connect with new friends and new people. I struggled quite a bit with that. And I think I would tell myself, hey, Sharlyn, it's okay. You're gonna be okay, gal. It's all right. Just hang in there. You'll be okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If
13.
I could go back and speak to 13-year-old Sharlyn, wow. I think 13-year-old Sharlyn will be so proud of the journey that we've been on.
Why would you not save the heartache and just go to 16?
Because if I can actually wait, if I go back to 13, right, what am I able to do?
You go to 13, you can redo all the 13 onwards. You go to 16, you can redo all the 16
Hey,
onwards.
but wouldn't it be better?
Leave 14, 15, and all that.
No, but if you are able to live with wisdom, knowing that there is actually a better way to live, then my choices from 13, 14, 15 will not affect 16.
It would have been very different, eh?
Very different. Very, very different. Yeah.
Reflecting back, if I
Mm,
was 13, um, because I learned this too late. It
mm,
started as jokes, my cousins telling me, you are enough, you are enough, you are enough. And at the end, I really realized the problem was I thought I was not enough.
mm,
I thought there was always someone to impress. I had
mm,
to make someone love me more. Uh, I didn't. The love word was not a problem because I always felt my parents loved me unconditionally.
mm,
However, I reframed it as proud. I want them to be proud of me. But
mm,
today, when you think about it, it is the same thing.
mm,
I was actually doubting whether my parents loved me.
mm,
Right? But reframing and coining it with the word pride.
mm,
Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? Um, and when we realize that this is a constant, that
mm.
this doesn't need to be competed for, that you don't need to work so hard for it, then you've got so much more brain space to do everything else.
And you
So that
can
was,
breathe.
yeah, that would be what I would tell my 13-year-old.
Wow,
Then
come on.
still can sue today, but not as bad, I think. Probably because we sue enough to feel like it's all right to sue another time. Yeah. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, Sharlene, I think that kind of closes up the little chapter on choices, and
mm,
we want to move on to values. Yeah,
okay.
reflecting on the values of today's teenagers as compared to the value system of our times teenagers, or maybe the time of our parents. Do you
Mm.
see there is a difference, or do you think it is constant throughout because our culture and our family didn't change much?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I do think that there are values that, are just consistent throughout.
Mm,
And there are people who really embody that value as well because it's a healthy thing for them, right? But I do think that this recent I wouldn't say the recent generation, lah, okay, but the recent observation that I have, yes, okay,
mm,
is that they are really vocal and very independent. They're very fiercely independent, which
mm,
which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing
mm,
in a certain context.
mm,
And I do think it's because like people are more equipped and they have access to a lot of information.
yep.
So it's easy for someone to think, ah yeah, I know what I'm talking about because I've read up, like 400 journals about it online. So I do believe that this is where the relationship skill is very important. You can
Mm,
know a lot of things, but if you are not sure of how to deliver it or to share it in a healthy and respectful way, the bridge is burnt. I don't care how much information you know, but if you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to communicate that healthily, then
mm,
isn't that for nothing? So I think
mm,
like values wise, right? A lot they're braver, they're much bolder, they have a lot more resources to be bolder. Yeah. And I think that yeah, that's the most prominent thing. And I believe, right, that that is literally the key that they need to realize that it will open doors that will lead them further into life or that it will cause them to stumble. They need to be very careful with this key. This key that they have, they need to be super, super, super aware of, yeah, of how valuable it is. Yeah. So it is.
True lah. Is reflecting back to, I have there's one part of my life that I've not fixed, and that is my relationship with my grandfather.
Mm,
When I came back from the UK and I didn't have a partner by my side, um,
mm,
a lot of time in my hands. Uh, I would spend a lot of time with him.
Mm.
So my grandmother passed away when I was in university. So I came back. He was alone. I would have breakfast with him. He was my hangout buddy, right?
Mm.
Uh, Today, fast forward 7 years. I don't talk to him much. I don't know what to talk to him about.
Mm.
We Yeah. So that's one regret that I need to work out on. And after your reflection just now, I realized it was my thinking that I know everything,
Mm.
know more than him.
Mm.
So every time when he asks me questions, I would find out, silly question. Why you? Like, he he's basically trying to talk to me lah. So,
Mm.
this one made in Malaysia, is it? I'm like, yeah
Mm.
lah, kong. Read yourself lah, kong. Eh? You read yourself.
Mm.
Or like, your face ah.
Mm.
Your, yeah lah.
Wow.
If not, whose face? So like, show off a bit.
Wow. Got face on the card. Oh. I also want. Wow. 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 So handsome. Wow, you really look like Korean oppa.
Okay, back to the vulnerable
Yeah.
confession.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the key that you talked about. The key that we
Mm.
know a lot, and
Yeah.
the key that we push people aside thinking that they're irrelevant. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that reminder, Sharlyn.
Yeah.
But
And hey, honestly, right, there's like one of the things that we need to realize is no matter which part of the journey we're in, no matter what has happened, there's always a choice for us to turn back and get back on like with your grandpa, your relationship with your grandpa. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, I've really fallen off too far, I can't come back. Just realize that again, you have a choice. You have a choice to bring healing into that relationship. You have a choice to make it better, to mend it. So yeah, like that's an encouragement to you, but to also to everybody, right? If
yeah,
let's say you are a parent listening to this, don't feel like, oh my gosh, I've neglected my child for way too long, I don't know what to do now. Just start turning back towards your child. That's what it is, you know.
mm,
And if you're a child, do the same thing. Turn back towards your parents. Start being kind today. Start being loving today. You don't need to go from 0 to 100, but just take that 1%, that 1 degree, 1 degree, and slowly you will get there. So what we really want to see is actually to see wholeness in the different relationships that teenagers are having. And yeah, like that's basically the heart behind what we are doing in this workshop.
yeah. Sharlyn,
Mm.
I also
Yes.
want the opportunity to tell our audience here.
Mm.
Sharlyn is a church leader. Yes, can I say that, Sharlyn?
Well, I lead the youth. I serve the youths in like in a local church here in Johor Bahru.
Mm,
So yeah, I have the privilege to honestly journey with
mm,
so many of them here.
yeah.
And yeah, so I serve in the youth ministry.
Okay. And so as I was explaining to my students just now during our class, yeah, I
Mm.
said you have to meet this lady. She's a very staunch church leader, or she's with the youth in church, yeah,
Mm.
very influential there. However, I don't not however, I'm sorry. If mean I don't mean it that way. Um, so I've had experiences of being like feeling judged in the church.
Mm.
So I'm sure there
Like
are teenagers
individuals
who feel
Yeah.
so. Um,
Mm.
and you are not like that at all. Yeah. So I also tell my family that day when they were asking me that who is this lady coming over.
Mm.
I said Sharlyn is she's doing the Lord's work
Mm.
in secular clothing. You're doing the Lord's work in 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 yeah.
It's for everyone, basically.
I,
Yeah. There's
I,
there's no exclusion.
yes.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question, yeah, Sharlyn.
Okay.
Social emotional learning. Today it
Mm-hmm.
sounds new, right? it sounds like a new concept in Malaysia because we
Mm-hmm.
compiled all this knowledge and put it into a pool and then labeled it that way. Yeah.
Correct.
For civilization to have come to what it is today,
Mm,
social emotional learning was here and there, everywhere.
correct. Yeah.
Where do you think
Mm,
our parents and ourselves, because we were not taught this per se in school, yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
where did we get it? Because we turn out all right, um, and it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah. That's right. I think it's also very instinctive, I would say.
Mm.
So not so right, we need to really have a broad perspective of this. Not everybody comes from a healthy and whole family. You know, we have the privilege of growing up with
Mm.
parents who love us, who were there with us, right? I am very, very blessed. Like my mom and dad are amazing parents, you know. But even then, I struggled as a teenager. It's completely
Oh,
independent from whether or not they are good parents, right? It's
yep.
just because I'm discovering myself as a teenager, you know. So I do think that yeah, you are right that we turned out okay. We turned out quite okay. But also we have to be very aware that there are so many things we need to unlearn at this stage in life.
Correct.
Right? Like that's the
And
reality
we
of
are
it. People
also
don't really
very,
talk.
yeah, we are also very fortunate that we have this chance to unlearn, right?
Exactly.
We have this awareness, or people call it fate, to unlearn.
Yeah.
You're at the right
Yeah.
place, right time. You can see it. Um, yeah.
But not many people have the opportunity. And that's, you know, another thing that something that I really that shifted my perspective a lot. Our parents did not have the opportunity to even have time to think about all of this because they were children of survival.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's why I really respect and honor like the older generation because they had to do everything to survive,
Yep.
you know? So they
Yep.
didn't have time to sit down and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional today. How do I regulate my emotions? They had to think about, hey, what am I going to put on the table, man? My kids are hungry, you know? So we are so, so privileged. But you see, the thing is, right, as society is growing in at this pace, what we need to do is to recognize, hey, this is important right now and in time to come because more and more people have time to start thinking. And if they are thinking the unhealthy things, then we know that it's going to go a very, very different direction. It will go towards darkness. If they are starting to think healthily and they're like, hey, yeah, I'm aware of what's happening internally. I know how to regulate and manage that. I recognize what my friends and my family, what they're going through, right? And then I know how to build relationships with them and make good decisions. We are going to go towards a much different direction. So that's why SEL, like social emotional skills, social emotional learning, is important now.
Mm.
And yeah, like, yeah, just a shout out. Like, if you are a parent, I really respect you. I honor you because it is not an easy journey to be on. And yeah, like I do think that this would help our children grow in understanding to help them activate their minds, build their foundation so that they can conquer their lives long. Yeah. It's really a life message, you know. Like I'm not even marketing, you know. I'm just like, yeah, it's really, really important.
I never, yeah, I forgot. I forgot that this is our privilege to be able to just sit down
Yeah.
and and think about how to love better, how to,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
true. But then again, we need to recognize that it's important for this time, you know, at this point in time.
Yep.
Yeah, because if we don't know how to love people well, if we don't know how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves, with the people around us, look, then the internet will be a very dangerous place. If I'm
Okay.
unhappy with myself,
Mm,
I can go online and I can shoot anybody I want.
mm.
So that's
One more
why
question.
it's
One more
intertwined.
question
Mm-hmm.
My one more question myself would have had if I was
Mm-hmm.
a teenager looking at this topic today.
Yeah.
As a teenager, I was very active in church. Yeah, I was very
Mm-hmm.
active in church. Um, I was at every youth camp. Why should I consider coming to this workshop? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what different insights can I get from this setting?
Yeah. Wow. I don't think that it's on the same playing field though, because like it's from a very different perspective, I would say.
Mm,
And yeah, like good things are good things no matter how you apply it in your life. Lah. I would say that if this is a healthy environment that has good seeds, I don't know what good fruits will come out from that. That is
mm,
up to you to how you are going to water that seed, right, in your life. So I think the principles are stuff that it's healthy principles, law. It helps you grow. And yeah, I wouldn't say that it's like, whoa, very I don't know how to explain this well. Let me think about it.
would it
Yeah,
be
I just think it's a good it's a good place to
you take
learn
some time,
practical
Charlene,
principles.
you take some time to think about this.
Yeah.
Uh, the because ultimately when
Yeah.
when when our teenagers, because a lot of my teenagers in champs as well have the privilege to have very staunch like spiritual upbringing, right?
So good.
So their parents make time for their youth activities in church, youth activities at the temple.
Mm,
um, some are into meditation and all this, but
mm,
what what is that different insight that they might be able to take from this setting
yeah.
of a gathering of teenagers talking about teen relationships?
Yeah, I think it is just honestly a place where we're gonna talk about like the real stuff on teen relationships, right? What they
Mm,
are experiencing, how do we apply these principles
yeah,
so that it can help us grow in our own journey. So it's not
and
exclusive to
uh,
anyone.
and I would like to add, Charlene, that the
Mm-hmm.
one one different insight that I think they would find would be
Mm,
like cross religious kind of understanding and
yeah,
coming to the same point. Yeah.
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
Reaffirming again the seed that it is the same.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say that hey, honestly, just come in with an open mind
Yeah.
that these are practical principles that we can apply in our lives. So it's
Mm,
completely independent from like it doesn't the principles don't change, like it
yeah.
is healthy principles. It's like how I'm telling you, hey, this is a blue cup, whether you believe it's blue or not, it's still blue, you know what I mean? So if it is a good and healthy practical principle that you can apply, then yeah, it's for everybody. So
Mm.
yeah, I do think that this will be a very real conversation, and I want it to be a safe space. And I
Mm.
want everyone to be able to go through the ABC process that I shared just now.
Yep.
So it's to activate your minds to know, like, hey, where am I at in this area of my life?
Mm.
We'll go through different principles and different things that we're going to cover in the session. So that's going to help you build that foundation so that you can conquer your own life. So
Yep.
it's not about what is the right thing for everybody to do. No, no, no. It's how do you apply it to your own life. So yeah,
Yeah. The workshop's going to be a very reflective session.
yeah.
You is it for everyone?
Yeah, but if you are from 13 to 18 years old, you are our top priority. If you are beyond that age range and you want to join us, you can talk to Sebastian and then he will advise you.
Uh, we
Yeah,
we put the we put the mark on the two age
the
limits
range. Mm,
because of the myriad of stories that we would get and the difference of
yeah,
experience that we would get. Yeah.
It's
Uh,
true.
if we could have put everyone together, but then different lah. What you feel
Yeah,
as a 18-year-old and 18-year-old already very different,
it's
right?
true. Yeah,
So we had to cap it somewhere, and that's where we kept it. So
yeah.
yeah, uh, that's it. I think we will skip the fear bit, but
Okay.
before we let Sharlyn go, we have one last uh,
This or that.
this or that.
All
Before
right, let's go.
joining where you
Wow.
from, we hope you're a teenager or a parent. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for listening to us
That's
tonight.
right.
Oh, Sharlyn, ready?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Google Calendar or physical calendar?
Wow, if you asked this 2 weeks ago, I would say physical calendar, but Google Calendar.
Why?
Wait, I'm not even joking, right? Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but look at my calendar. Oh my gosh, my phone so
Oh,
bad. Look
dots,
at
huh?
how it is. I tell you, I only have 4 days to breathe from now until December. But yes,
But
Google Calendar.
all right, good. And this also shows us the different tools that are accessible to teenagers today. But then it is so that it saves their brain space so they can do more choices. Yeah, because
This is
like
true.
like we mentioned before on our previous live stream, today's
Yeah,
teenagers have a whole corridor of doors that they have to choose from.
correct.
Last time, probably you only had two doors. When you walked into the
Correct.
door, then you wouldn't think so much. You mean like, hey, outside that door got what, huh?
Yeah.
Or, and that's why people, no, I don't think that's fair to say. But our parents stayed on with their work longer than we did. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
For us, long service is like what, 3 years, 4 years, long service. For them, long service was like 30 years. Yeah.
50 years.
Years, like,
Wow,
cannot
that's
imagine.
a lifetime, eh?
Because we have more options.
It's
We
true.
have more
Very
options,
true.
and whatever is happening around the world, you know. Yeah. So yeah. And final question, Sharlyn, are you ready?
Okay, let's go. I
McDonald's
don't like this.
McDonald's drive-through Sunday cone or Petronas pool open walls ice cream?
McDonald's drive-through.
Why?
Because I don't want to go down from my car.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So these are the. I'm actually not sure what scenarios Sharlyn is gonna bring you through, but
Yeah.
these are the choices we have to make on a daily basis.
That's
And
right.
so, if you come over to the workshop on the 6th of November,
Mm.
you're given a mirror and you're given a time stopper to stop
Wow.
time, track, and to decide and to review the choices you have made or the choices you have yet to make. Yeah. So
Wow.
come join us on the 6th of November at Champs Miri for Love You Fam.
That's right. And you know, guys, right now you have a choice whether or not you're going to sign up. So choose what you value, okay? So if you value relationships, come on, join us, okay? Wow, but really, I'll be so happy to meet all of you. And thank you for the time today, Sebastian. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharlyn. And we
Thank
have one
you.
more live stream next week. We'll
Mhm.
probably speak about fears and then we'll put
Mm.
another thing on. And then we will see you in another few days from the live. So we'll probably not go live next Thursday. We'll make it earlier. Probably
Can.
Monday or Tuesday, huh? And
Tuesday
then
probably because I'm flying on Monday.
okay. Then we'll make it
Yeah.
on Tuesday and we'll see you very
Yeah.
soon on Friday. We'll see you on
No,
Friday.
Saturday. I'll see you on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm so
Thank you very
excited. The next
night,
time I see you,
everybody.
I'll already be in Sarawak. So bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.